Welcome to the Bree Pod. I'm here with me, Bree. So today is not like unfiltered. Today is a bit more about my pregnancy journey, the road to pregnancy. And the reason why I'm sharing is because in the very first trailer that I had made for this podcast, I talked about my journey with infertility. I talked about how by having a negative pregnancy test, that's what started this whole thing. That's what started me sharing my voice and sharing my truth and going on a journey, which I don't know if that's like the only word I should be using, but basically going on this path of finding what could I better in my life? What could I improve with myself to help my journey of being a mother be like come true and come into fruition. And so I started the podcast. I got into counseling. I got myself a nutritionist. I started seed cycling. And then I added a fitness trainer. That was recent, actually. And I knew that all of these things were not just to have a baby. All of these things are helping me shape and mold myself to help with my stresses, to help with, past trauma, and to move forward and to live and grow. And my goal has always been to be the best, or as best as I can be as a mother, because I'd say the best, but don't we all have that goal, to be the best, but truly just to be a mom. And so I'm sharing this episode because next week this weekend, I'm going to be going and doing a womb healing. And I found this womb healing through my cousin. She had messaged me and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I know you suffer from endometriosis. I have a woman that has done great, beautiful things for other women, including myself. And I think that you would benefit greatly if you go to her." And if you're listening, I want you to know that I'm so gracious for you in reaching out to me and sending her to me, because this weekend I am actually going to be trying it out. Now, I wanted to share a bit of where I'm at because, I started off telling you guys that I'm on this path of wanting a baby, but where am I at now? And I've been very candid and open because of the fact I think that I have nothing that I'm ashamed of sharing. I think that there's a lot of people that struggle and they don't have an outlet, or they're afraid to say feelings that they have, or they're afraid to say, "Hey, I'm upset," because it's either out of worry of what the feedback may be, because sometimes when you tell someone that you're struggling with infertility, a lot of people want to fix it instantly for you, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is to have so much support. But at the same time, sometimes we've tried certain things that have been told to us. And so I decided to share my own story with what I'm doing. And I think it's important to know that anything that I say that I do, I am living life just like anyone else. No one has a manual to life, we can read the experiences of what others have to offer. But at the end of the day, we're still living life as best as we can. So anything that I talk about or anything that I say, please don't feel like it's like, "Oh, I'm telling you this way will work and that's it," or feel that I am taking out the way that you chose with your own life, because truly I would never ever do that. I don't want, when I talk about what I've been doing, I don't want you to feel like I'm saying, "Oh, well, by you doing this, that means I am better than you." No. I am no better than anyone else. I am just trying something that I feel with my heart is what I want to do. And when it comes to pregnancy, I want to try the natural, holistic way. Will people agree? Probably not. Will I have results? I don't know. But I'm going to share with you these things that I'm doing. I'm going to continue to bring you along my journey. And if I decide to bring in outside help, I will absolutely continue to be transparent and open about it, because for me, this is nothing to hide. This is part of being a human. And so I decided recently, well, not recently, truly when I started all of these things such as counseling and, um, training, and not necessarily the same way that I was a couple years ago. A couple years ago when I had a fitness trainer, I was specifically training so that I could become a bikini model. That dream is not dead. That dream actually is fully alive. And I feel personally, for me, what I would love to do is to actually do the bikini training later in life, probably after I have children. And what's beautiful about bikini shows is that the age range is amazing. Like, you can be from your 20s all the way up to your 80s, 90s, depending on how much you're able to still do, with your body, working with your body. So I decided that I want to wait on that goal, but it is not a goal that will go away. And so I brought back fitness, though, because it's like I said in the previous episode, it's a part of me feeling better with endo. It doesn't take care of endo, but it at least alleviates a little bit of pain, which any alleviation of some form of pain of that is a beautiful thing. So that's why I brought that back in. And there's the science behind the fact that if you work out or you do things that like walking, running, biking, so on and so forth, it really helps you kind of calm down the stresses, which is important, because when you're constantly stressed, your body reacts to that. So anyway, so I've been going toward the holistic route. And as many of you know, I had an episode talking about seed cycling, which I can give an update on seed cycling. I have to say, I have a chart of my periods. And I have a chart of when it looks like a freaking roller coaster that's like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It could be a song, really. But since I have been seed cycling, and I usually put the seeds in my smoothies, I have to say the past, I want to say 4 to 5 periods, they're still a little bit off by like a day or so, but they're nothing compared to what it used to be. Like, it's actually starting to level off a bit. I mean, I feel like it's been between 28 to 30, but before it was like 32, 40. And what I'm talking about when I say this is like we have a 28-day cycle. That's the quote unquote norm. But our bodies shift with, our environments, they shift with many things. So sometimes your cycle can go off. Sometimes your cycle can be like, I'm over here at 40, and then I'm over here at 22 days in the cycle. So mine was like wild like that. It was all over the place. But I will say with seed cycling, it has been between 28 days to 30 days, and that's not as big of a gap as what it was. So I have to say it's been helpful. It's amazing. And if you want to check that out, there is a seed cycling episode, and I'll link that in the profile of this one. But so we talked about how I've been doing fitness training. We talked about how I've been going to counseling. We talked about how I'm trying the holistic route of getting pregnant. So I'm not taking Clomid, but it is an option. I can go and try Clomid. It's been something that's been offered to me by many people of saying that it helps and works. But right now I'm trying to go a different route. And please, again, don't think, oh my gosh, she thinks she's so much better. No, nothing like that. Truly, if my holistic route does not work, I will try Clomid. I will try, things that I need to try. I'm not knocking IVF. I'm not knocking anything. I just know intuition wise that I've learned to trust my body, especially with endo. I've learned to trust my body. And right now in this time, my body wants me to just try the holistic route. And I think that's important to do that. Anything that you want to do with your body, anything that you want to try to help, like, for example, someone that chooses IVF, that is a decision based off their intuition of saying, hey, it's your body saying, hey, we need a bit extra help. So let's go reach out and look into IVF. Definitely listen to those thoughts. Listen to yourself. It's not to say that doctors do not know how to do their job. It's not to say that they don't have good advice, but it's so important to know that when it comes to being a patient, you do not have to take every single word they give you. Now, you might be like, girl, if a doctor tells you that, you have high blood pressure and you need to work on that, then you've got to work on that. Yes, I know that. But what I mean is, a lot of times we put our whole faith and trust into one entity, like with medical, in the medical world. But think about how many medical people are out there, and especially the research and the resources that each illness has. So it's so important to not think that you only solely can go one way and that's it. No questions asked. Because if your body, this is how endo was found for me. My body was saying, something's wrong. Something is really, really wrong here. We need to do something about it. So I started talking to people about it. I started going to my doctors and saying, hey, this is weird. Now, so many people, including doctors, said, you have a bad period. And I know I've repeated this. But had I just held onto that word and was like, okay, I have a bad period, even though my body's being like, girl, I mean, I get that this could be a bad period, but it just that doesn't sit right with you. Something is off, something more. I think it's important to listen to your inner body and to say, you know what? No, that does not work for me. Because that's how today I can say full-heartedly, I have endometriosis, and I know for a fact because I was able to get a laparoscopy. They went in there and they found it. And that's what's beautiful about listening to your body, because at the end of the day, you are your advocate. Unless you're under 18, then technically your parents or your guardians are your advocate, but you are your advocate of your body. So when you feel that tug or that pull inside and it's like, hey, this is what I want to do, you should absolutely do that. So as I continue on about this, I wanted to add this just so you know that if your tug was to IVF, if your tug was to, I mean, there's so many freaking ways out there of options to take. If it doesn't mean that you're wrong, and I think that's something we really, really have to remind ourselves. Just because one person does one way and another person does, goes another way, doesn't mean that it's wrong. A lot of times it just goes by listening to your body. So with that being said, for now, I am listening to my body and I'm sticking with a more holistic approach. I'm not saying it's going to be the end all be all, but it's something that I want to try. And like I said, if it doesn't work out, I will look into other options if my body, pulls me towards them. So this weekend, I'm going to get womb healing done. And it's basically like where they go in, like, so our bodies are a part of energy. And apparently, the sacral um, chakra, which is near, it's basically your reproductive organs, they carry a lot of your pent up energy from such as childhood trauma or trauma in general. I'm not saying that I had full blown childhood trauma, but trauma and stress can live in there. So, womb healing is where an energy healer comes in and helps you um, basically take out that negative energy. Um, and it's kind of like a Reiki process, basically. Now, if you don't believe in this, absolutely fine. No worries about that. It's not for everyone. Hence, that's why we have so many other ways to, go about it. But I decided to go down this route because one of my most beloved cousins that I've always had respect for had reached out to me about this. Now, I should say I have heard of it before, and my friend did actually do a session with me before. It's not to say it didn't work, just at the time that we were doing this, it was all experimental. So we needed to be more like consistent with it, I think, as well as understanding more. And since then, my friend has gotten so much more experience into it. But when my cousin had reached out and talked about who she's been going to for her own thing, I decided, you know what? I would love to try this out and see what happens. So next week, I'm going to actually have her on the podcast to not only share my update on how I felt after, how I feel, I don't know, whichever way, how I feel after it, but also to give insight on what it is and how it helps, and who she's helped, because she has been in the business for a while now, for about a year, I believe, and she's helped many women with her energy healing. And apparently, which is beautiful, she's had amazing results. And I only say apparently, not because I don't believe in it, but because it's something new, right? At first, you're always going to be like, oh my gosh, this is new. I don't know. So I'm excited to be able to share that with you guys next week after the episode, because we're first going to share what is it, what is womb healing, how does energy healing work. She dives deeper than where I did today, and shares how it helps and what it does, and what it can affect. And I think that's super important to hear. And so I guess the long story short, to answer the question is, where am I at in my journey to pregnancy? Well, I'm still trying, but I'm not putting in a trying in the sense of being like, oh my God, I need to have this. I should be a mother. Like, we're going to talk about this later as the months progress, but when you go through the processes of trying to figure out how to be fertile, basically, you go through a lot of emotions. And before I started this podcast, I was desperate for a pregnancy positive test. I can assure everyone today, I am not desperate in that want. Like, I absolutely want a baby, but it is not to the degree where I was before, where I wanted it so bad that I made it not fun. I made it a chore, and I made it basically set up myself for failure, because I'm like, I'm going to fail. So now I'm taking more so the past, let's see, I think it was since January, no, I think since May, I've been making different changes toward my body. And now I'm on to the next thing. So we did seed cycling. I'm still doing that. Now I'm trying out womb healing, and then I'm gonna have an update at the end of that episode, as well as an update in a couple of months of what happened, where did we go with that? Am I trying Clomid now? So I'm gonna keep you posted. I think it's important. It's important to share so that you know where we're at, because I feel like I started off with an episode like this, so I need to bring it full circle. And since we're almost getting to the 1 year anniversary, which I'm so excited for, it's time to start bringing everything full circle. And I have so many beautiful episodes coming up. I hope you continue to stay with me, especially with my unfiltered series. I have so much to unfilter with you. Or would that be right? Anyway, I have so much to share with you. And I can't wait to see what 2022 brings for us. Before I end this episode, I wanted to share that on December 31st, I will actually be going live during that day to celebrate the 1 year anniversary for the Brie Pod. So I hope that you can join me. I will attach the links and everything to my website, to my Facebook, because I want you guys to join to celebrate the 1 year. Because can you believe that every single Wednesday since December, well, technically it wasn't a Wednesday that day, but since the trailer came out, I have been recording episodes. Like, what? It's awesome. Anyway, sorry, we dived off a bit. But thank you to all who have supported and are listening and following me in this journey. Please know that I am open to different holistic ideas. I'm still open to things that are not full-blown holistic. It's not to say that I'm not. So feel free to send me any messages regarding how fertility has gone for you, what worked for you. Please feel free to share. I'm not a person that will deny that help. But right now, this is the path I'm taking. I'm just gonna see what happens. So please join me next week as we learn about womb healing. I'll have the update on how it felt, and I hope to continue. I hope that one day, very soon, I will be able to get on this podcast and I will say, hey, I'm pregnant. It'll be amazing. But we're going to live in the present. We're going to stay focused on life, just living and loving and growing. And that is the affirmation that I leave with you today. So with that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished,